Hello, all, and welcome to this Monday night post work beer review. Yes, we are reviewing beers after work, which I've been doing for a few months now. Yeah. So, you know, um, yeah, so I'm not going to even name this particular beer review. Let's just get straight to the beer. So, like I said in the last review, I went down to Bottleheads and I ended up buying like 6 different beers to review. And one of those beers, it turns out I had forgotten I had reviewed in the past, almost approximately 2 years ago. And so it was like, well, do I review this again? Or do I just go and drink and enjoy? And since I already spent the money, I am going to go and make a review out of it. But how can I go and give a twist to this particular review? Well, I'm going to use different glassware. So I don't think I need to say much about this. This is Ayinger Maibock 7.0 ABV, and it is the #1 rated Maibock on, Beer Advocate. There are ones that are rated higher, but this is the only one that has a significant amount of reviews that is rated that highly. So, you know, and I reviewed it in the past and, of course, gave it glowing reviews. I don't think I've ever had like a bad beer from Ayinger or Ayinger. Ayinger? Probably, yeah, probably. I think it is a hard G. Ayinger. Ayinger. Yeah. So it became like, well, what do I do? And while I was at Beer Advocate, I kind of noticed that the suggested glassware for a Maibock is actually a goblet or chalice. And I don't have a goblet or chalice, but I do have a snifter, which is different, but probably a bit more correct than the tall glass that I used previously to review it. So, yeah, we're going to review it in this. And so this has been outside the refrigerator for probably about 5 minutes by now. And I didn't actually watch my old review, but I mean, it's Ayinger. It ain't going to be a bomb, well, unless this one's been sitting on the shelf for quite some time. But Bottleheads is very good about keeping their beers refrigerated. And so even though it is a springtime beer being drank in the middle of, you know, autumn, I think it's still, especially with a high ABV, it's probably still pretty well preserved. Maybe the hops aren't as bright as they were. Now, of course, the production code is one of those ones where you can't really read. So, yeah, let's just get straight to this now, shall we? Open them up and give it a go. This cognac snifter has had more beers poured into it than liquors. Okay, so about a nice centimeter's worth of fluffy white head, yellow-orange coloration. Looks more orange-yellow from your perspective, but I'm looking directly into the light. Oh yeah. So obviously, cereal, grain, bready notes, but there's also a nuttiness to it as well. Floral hopping, touches of spice. Still pretty prevalent. That old world style noble hopping. But yeah, mostly malt forward, kind of bready, but also having a nice nutty twist to it. Head did not go and stick around, but snifter is not a goblet. Apparently, from reading Beer Advocate, learned something new every day. A proper beer goblet or chalice is scored so that it's constantly generating bubbles. A snifter does not do that, so but it does hold the aromas pretty well. So even though the head is kind of dissipated, it's sticking in there, so that's a good thing. Okay, onto the palate now, shall we? Oh yeah, yeah. Hmm. It definitely changes it. So like the beer kind of rolls over a wider area of the tongue and a little bit more forward on the tip of the tongue than with a normal, a regular glass like I had before. Kind of get that malty sweetness followed by hop bitterness, both at appropriate levels. Not as sweet as, the Maibock I just reviewed previously, the Erbach. So yeah, while there's a touch of honeyed bread there, there's also a nice nuttiness. And the hopping is more intense for sure. There's almost a mild resiny quality to it in the finish before it clears. Very strong, sweet floral top note while it's on the palate. Also, yeah, the spiciness is a little bit more pronounced there as well. And it's actually quite pleasant, honestly, which is something of an understatement. This is darn good beer. It doesn't go down as easily, as the previous one did. Um, Let me go and get the name back up because I'm having a brain fart here. The Hofbrau. The Hofbrau Maibock. Yeah. So definitely um, a bit. It's actually not thicker on the palate. The Hofbrau had more thickness on the palate, but it definitely has more alcohol presence, um, both on the palate and the top note. Not boozy by any sense of the means, but you definitely get the 7.0 ABV nature of this. Mm, yeah. The stronger hopping and the slightly lighter maltiness of this, it doesn't have as much, bread notes. Definitely means that this is a bit more complex than the Hofbrau. That said, they're both really satisfying beers, well made. Kind of want to see what the Hofbrau would be like in something that has a bit of a wider lip to it. Hmm. Yeah, the only bad thing I can say about this one in comparison is it shows its alcohol a little bit more. Again, not hot, not boozy. It just shows that alcohol a bit more. So Maibock is not a deeply complex style. It's actually kind of, I would say it's a little bit narrow of a style, like most German styles are, but nowhere near as narrow as, like, say, a Pilsner. Um, Definitely give this one a shot. It's a dang fine beer. And that, folks, is your beer review for this evening. Proust.